Good. Now we start our practice today in Dandasana. Now I have a blanket here, but you can use a foam pad or whatever you have to give yourself a little bit more height. Now what we want to do here is to pull this buttock flesh away from the bone itself. Pull up the kneecaps strongly, spread your toes, and then be in your Dandasana. Now this is a really lovely pose to observe your practice. So what we can observe here is exactly what's happening in this knee area. This is an understanding that we need to have in our practice. So it's a good thing to soften the knees a little bit and try to feel that action with the pubic plate just sinking into the back of the sacrum there. And then you have to see that you pull these outer hips back, so you can recognize some of these instructions in your standing poses. So see that you draw back with these outer hips and then lifting up through the center, lifting that spinal column, and see that you puff your chest, but with the support. Where it goes wrong is when you overdo the chest without getting this stable. You've got to remember the whole of the pelvis has got to ground down. So from here, we're going to add a little bit of intensity. So the arms are going to come forward. Pause. Now see that you're sitting into the sacrum a little bit more, coming up, pushing into the fingertips. You can see how I'm elevating and then coming up a little bit more. Now I want to see again pubic plate towards the sacrum and going up a little bit more and extending. Keeping this action. And of course, when you're in this action, you have to breathe at the same time. So just take a few moments with that. Just see, can you get that dynamic action? Can you understand the breath-body connection? So if this is happening, then you will find your inner deep center of direction. This is really key. Okay, and releasing. Quite an action, and all we're doing is sitting. Quite amazing, really. All right, so now we've worked the legs. We're going to work the legs slightly differently, coming into a seated position, but now in Upavitha Konasana. So when we come for Upavitha Konasana, we're taking the legs nice and wide now. So we take the legs really nice and wide, and the same thing again. We want to see that we're not tipping forward. This would have been one of my favorite actions in the very beginning, because you just drop the whole of this front body. It's almost as if it's not attached to you. So you want to see that you get the same action pulling up with the thighs, central thighs, but this pubic plate region, this lower abdominal area, needs to sit into the pelvis. And breathe, sit into the pelvis. Now there's got to be an action of grounding these legs down very strongly. So you've got to find the bones in the legs and push them down. And at the same time, pushing those heels away from you. So quite a lot going on at any one time. Then keeping that lift through the center of the body. Let the shoulders release, soft inhalation and exhalation. So we're going to take the arms forward and then taking the arms up. Now you've got to draw the abdomen to the spine and then extending up again. So we're getting all of this really nice lift, really nice extension, pushing up into the fingertips even more. Now with this action, you've got to ground down very strongly into these legs. Now watch the screen. I'm going to lift up again and turn. Now I'm only turning a little bit, and this is really not good enough to where I want to get to. So I have to see, I sit back into the abdomen and see, can I bring all of this left side towards the front leg. and then releasing. It's quite challenging, isn't it? Keep with it, and then turning to the other side. So your left side now, all of this right side always needs to turn. Needs to get that turn in action. Needs to get that turn. And then releasing down. Oh, quite a job. All right, well done. Bring those legs together now. So you felt a little bit of side waist, a little bit of the elevation of the spine. Now when we come into Adho Mukha Svansaana, you want all of that. You want breadth, that squeezing that you did in that rotation just now. You want to find that breadth. So when we come into dog pose, not yet, I know some of you jumping up into it, wait, watch the screen. These are very important instructions. I'm going to take the feet really wide today. And then coming up. Now when you come up, you've got to see that, again, you've got to find that depth in the lower abdomen. Find the depth. And then go up with the butter bones, up with the butter bones, until you can cut back with these outer shins and outer thighs. Remember, this action is really, really key. Cut back with those outer legs. And be there. So just be in your pose, be in your Adho Mukha Svangasana with those wide legs and with that connection of those outer seams of the leg. So those outer lines, imagine a pencil line going from your hip all the way to your ankle. Imagine that shifting back. Yes. And then releasing. Well done. All right, so just have a look at the screen for a moment. We're coming for Uttanasana, same thing, wide legs, don't come into it yet. Now, again, we've got to see that to support the spine, we need to have good leg work. So the legs not only have to ground down, but also we've got to fill out into the seams. Now, once we fill out from the inner thigh to the outer thigh, these seams have got to go backwards. They've got to go back. You've got to train them to go back. And we come halfway in this position. Now you can put your hands on bricks, no problem at all. If you need to have a little bit more height, that's fine. So be in your Uttanasana, just your fingers down, spidered fingers, and finding that space. Finding that space. Come on, your turn. If you haven't already, if you're in it already, these are the instructions. You've got to see that you get so much breath in those legs, inner thighs to the bone, the bones to the outer thighs, the outer thighs, that seam that runs down from the hip all the way to the ankle needs to ground down, but also it's got to sharply cut back. It's got to sharply cut back, very, very sharply. Okay, and now slowly releasing. All right, I've got 2 bricks here. Now you can use bricks or you can use a couple of foam pads, whatever you've got at home. Now I'm going to bring the legs in a little bit further. So I'm in Tadasana. So being aware of Tadasana and how that feels on the pelvis, how this levelness is coming. Going to lift up nicely. All right, so what I want you to do with me, join in, see that you get the weight back, and then same thing as in the beginning of the class. You're extending your arms forward, abdomen towards the spine, and then take the arms up, extend up, really reaching up so much. And then we're coming forward. Now when you come forward onto your bricks, see if you can flatten your hands. See if you can flatten your hands, keeping the opening in the back of the pelvis. Taking the back leg back and and then lifting the back leg up. So, those of you who are already in your Uttanasana, just have a little glance at the screen and see that one leg lifts. Pull up the kneecap and thigh. Okay, come on, your turn. Taking that left leg back in line with your hip. Go and see that you're getting that action nicely. Yeah. Come on, push back into the heel, even more so. Even more so. Push back into the heel. Push back into the heel very, very strongly. Okay, and releasing down. Keep the head down, keep the hands down. Okay, right leg this time. Right leg this time. So taking that right leg back, pushing into the heel so much. Push very, very strongly into that heel. Keeping that action nicely. What's happening to the standing leg? Ground it down very strongly. Keep that extension, keep that pushing back. Well done, good. And releasing. Well done. Okay, so we take it a little step further now, just watch the screen. So what we're going to do here now is extend the leg back in this position, take the leg up, okay? Now we want to see, are we able to extend the leg back? So you're going to see, can you extend the leg back? Now notice, I'm just taking my time with this. I want to see that I cut back with that outer foot very strongly and keep this leg bent. Keep this leg bent. So you want to see that in this position that you are really hinging at the hip and looking forward. And then we bring the bricks back again and we come up and we launch. So you get the idea, you bend the leg and you reach it away, you keep the leg bent and you keep in this position, you keep grounding down with that back leg and looking forward. And then you reach the arms a couple of times, reach the arms forward. And then we step that leg up, extending up. So getting that nice angle on the leg. Okay, come on, a couple of times, another go. So if you've already started, I want you to go again. Reach that lifted leg back, and once you get it down to the floor, hit it very strongly in the outer foot bone. Well done. And then see, can you make more of a square with your front leg? Keep the front leg bent. Keep it bent. Keep it bent. Okay, now reach your bricks forward again. Reach them forward again. Lift the leg back up so it's in line with the hip. One more go. Extend back. Come on, extend back. Extend back. Extend back. That's it. So you want to see that from here you are extending back, keeping this leg nice and bent, pushing back very strongly with that back leg, looking forward, push back even more so, draw the abdomen towards the spine, looking forward, taking the brick nicely, extending. Okay, another time, come on. If you haven't swapped sides, swap sides. Come on, 2, 3, 4 times. Extend. Taking your hands down, reaching the hands forward, lifting the leg, reaching back, bringing those bricks back towards the foot side. Keeping that leg nice and bent. Another couple of times. Go and see that you're extending forward, keeping that action, keeping that bend in that front leg. Keep it going. Yes. All right, so if you've done 3 or 4 times on each side, honestly, then you can release. Well done. So we're coming for Chatushpadasana now. Okay, so when we come for this pose, you can see here I'm making a double loops here so that I got two little handles, and this is a really nice way of working. Now when you come up, you've got to weight down into your feet, and the whole of the back spine now goes in the opposite direction, so it curves in towards the anterior spine. So when you're here, you've got to see that the shoulders go in nicely. You push the shoulders in, press down into the feet, and then coil up. And breathe, soft inhalation, going up. And take those arms in and going up even more. Okay, so you can see that that is very, very useful. Now, if you can get a good height using your hands around the very front of the ankle, then that's fine too. So if you're coming into this action, then this is fine too. Okay, come on then, have a go. If you're not already in it, do it again. Do spend a little bit of time on some of these instructions. They will hold you in really good stead in the future. So a couple of times with Chatushpadasana, taking the whole of the body up and then releasing it down. So you want to have 4 foam pads for the next practice, which is our Sarvangasana. So when we come for this action, you can actually place your mat over the top of these foam pads. So what I mean by that is that you can use a mat like this over the top, or you may have your own way of doing, which is fine too. To have a launch pad, I've got a brick here, so we'll just use that here. Well, actually I may as well use 2. Alright, I just want you to have a look at where this is going now. Alright, now what I want you to do is to practice this week. Now when you come into your Sarvangasana this evening, or whenever you're practicing, see that you are placing yourself quite close to a wall so that you can just touch the wall and come away. You'll see what I mean by coming into the center of the room. So I'm going to go into Halasana. And then coming up. Now what I mean by this is that what you want to do is have a wall behind you. Can you see? So that you can touch the wall and come back. Touch the wall and come back. Or touch the wall and come back. Now when you touch something, it makes you move this area. This is the area that we were working in that Chatushpadasana. So I'm not asking you to do this action, but what I'm saying is when you touch, you've got to really curve the body. You've got to really curve. So you can see that it's not that far down. All right, so have a little practice. See where you are with it. So when you are to a wall, you have to see that you use the wall to get that curvature again. All right, so once you've got your kit and you're up there, just be there for a few moments before you start some of these actions. And this is a really nice way of working because you can use the legs to get that curvature in your lower back. It's such a fabulous action. So if you're by the wall, good. If you're just having a little play in the middle of the room, just see where you are with this. If you feel a little bit uncomfortable or not confident with this action, then just go into your straight Sarvangasana. Okay, so just have a little practice, If you've had to move your stuff near to a wall because actually in the room it was just not working out, then do so. You can pause the video and carry on. When you've practiced and you've practiced the adjustment, then go back to Sarvangasana. Just stretch those legs up really nicely. And breathe. Keep that lift, reach into those legs, reach the abdomen. You got to remember that you want to make space between those lower ribs and the pelvis. Come on. I know some of you are dropping or you've come down, that's fine, but just see that actually whilst you're there, you do your best pose. Okay, Halasana, enough. Halasana, calm down. All right, Halasana and slowly roll it down. Whew, quite a strong action. So again, don't worry about it because it comes from Chatushpadasana. You want to just take your time with it and it will come eventually. If you're uncertain, never do if you're uncertain. You just have to wait. So we're going to come for Shavasana now. So I'm sure you'll all be very pleased about this. So we come into this action. And we're just going to rest our arms and then extend the legs away. And just take a few deeper, longer inhalations. Just be in your Shavasana. So hopefully you are finding your peaceful state. So if you'd like to stay in your Shavasana for today, then stay there.